When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink, but I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds. I love chic branding, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
Hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of you relaxing, because now you're managing diabetes with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. You get to know your glucose levels and where it's headed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. Ready to learn more about the #1 prescribed CGM in the U.S.? Visit freestylelibre.us to learn more. Based on retail sales data for patients' last filled prescription by manufacturer. Refer to the FLAIR NL4 study published in BMJ Open Diabetes Research and Care 2019. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
This is Dr. Laurie Santos from the Happiness Lab. Many people have questions about how to improve levels of happiness. Living a healthy lifestyle is one sure way of increasing happiness. And a good place to start is with your oral health. Just a few small changes to your oral care routine, such as changing your toothpaste to Colgate Total, can lead to beneficial changes in your oral health. Colgate Total helps stop oral health problems like gingivitis and cavities before they start, because preventing oral health problems is a lot easier than treating them. Be dentist ready and get Colgate Total at shop.colgate.com/total.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe.
And I'm Roger Berman.
And you're listening to Works For Us. We talk to people about what works in their relationships and, of course, what doesn't. Today, we're talking to one of my absolute most favorite couples and power couples who have very gracefully demonstrated their ability to really grow together and really be the best versions of themselves, but also very independent and very individual. Jessica, you are an unstoppable force that I swear every time I think you've kind of capped out, you really have not even scratched the surface of what I think you're still going to do. What I love so much is that what's behind both of your businesses is giving back and charitable practices that I think you guys really lead the charge on it, quite honestly, and really are role models for so many other people. And then you also have 3 magically beautiful children that I am lucky enough to know. And I am, of course, talking about our friends, Jessica Alba and Cash Warren.
Hi, guys.
Hi. I'm
And
so
let's
happy
not
you guys
forget,
are here.
Cash Warren,
I would never forget Cash. I'm his #1 fan.
Cash is a lot like me. Cash is the man behind the woman, for all of those listening. So let's give a little props to Cash. Cash also is a film producer who has grown into a successful entrepreneur in his own right with his men's basic brand, Pair of Thieves. They created National Sock Day, and they've given out over 3 million pairs of socks to homeless shelters, among other items. So I think that's really incredible, Cash, that you made charity such a big part of your business.
Can I also say something that endlessly impresses me? Just like, because I think
Jessica's
about us.
skin?
Yeah, that goes without saying.
And that must be based on her Honest Beauty company.
Oh, stop.
Skincare line.
I mean, babe, I know that everyone knows who Jessica Alba is. She's painstakingly beautiful. It's actually ridiculous. Her skin, she's like airbrushed by God. And, she's been working in entertainment.
You're so embarrassing.
I know.
That was a good compliment. Airbrush by God is a good compliment. I might have to use that on my second wife. Wow.
But here's the thing. I feel like anyone who knows Jessica or who doesn't know Jessica, I think one of the first things you'd be like, I don't understand. Like, that skin, it's so crazy. And, I do think it's important to mention that she's obviously had starred in over 25 major films and But I also think that it's very important to know Jessica as the entrepreneur. And I think it's very admirable to go from being an actor and modeling and all of these things to creating a brand like Honest and the Honest Company, which also has Honest Beauty, which I have all over my face. But I think it's just incredible. And like I said, I think you've only just begun, which is crazy because I'm tired just talking to you. But, okay, one thing I wanted to sidebar before Roger interrupted me was I just want to note that Cash went to Yale.
Yeah,
because
he
that
did.
is something that I remember.
Again, the man
every once in a
behind
while.
the
And I'm
woman.
like, God, guys, no one just goes to Yale. I mean, you do. I know people that go to Yale. But like, I just think that behind that handsome face, we have to remember he's really flipping smart and overachieving, or just achieving, because he went to Yale and you just achieve. You know, that's what happens when you go to Yale, right?
Apparently. I don't have that kind of.
You don't.
You know,
You
I
don't.
have that sort of
No.
alma mater.
But I don't want to talk about you. Okay, so
I do.
It's all right.
Well-
We'll get to me. Don't you worry.
Okay.
So you guys, what we like to do on Works for Us, we really just like to take it from the beginning, which I know for you was a long time ago, but I think it's important when we talk about relationships to understand, like, how did it start? How'd you meet? How did it happen?
We were in Vancouver.
She was in a movie. I was working for the director in this movie, and one of the tasks as an assistant to a director was she was taking. I had to take photos of her as she tried on different contact lenses because she needed to have blue eyes in this movie. And so I went into her trailer and I was taking pictures and flirting with her and trying to like strike up a conversation and trying to be friends with her. And when you're on set, you know, it's kind of like a camp. And so this like little pod kind of formed with me and Jessica and a handful of other people. And we would go out to dinner every night together. We would hang out. We would get drunk together. We would just chill quite
As
a bit.
friends.
Yeah, as friends for a couple weeks.
For like 10 days. And then he tricked me into going on a date with him because I thought it was going to be like the group night again. And then it was just him. And I was like, where's everybody else? And he was like, oh, it's just going to be us. And I was like, oh.
Cash. That's quite the move.
I was like, I don't know if this is safe. Like, there was a thing that went through my head, which is like, this could be creepy. Like, I have like street smart, so I was like, I don't know. Like, this is where it could get
I'm
weird.
a huge burly guy. What do you mean?
I was like,
You're
it
not
could
gonna-
get weird. And then it was, I was like, it's all right. You know, we're out. It wasn't like we were going down dark alleys. Like, we were outside with other people.
We were at this amazing Japanese
Yeah.
restaurant called Tojo's in
Tojo's,
Vancouver. I'd gotten a little room in the back for us, and we sat in there and we had a 3.5-hour dinner,
And we didn't eat
Nice.
anything.
and we ate no food.
And Tojo was so, we felt bad because he kept bringing, you know, dish after dish, and we just kept drinking sake. And what happened is even though like we had hung out and we were chill with each other, like we both just started getting butterflies in our stomach and we couldn't eat.
That's so
We
cute.
just like talked
so
all
cute.
night. And then we
That's-
walked home from
we
Tojo's.
walked home, which was far. It was like an
That's-
hour walk.
At
after
least an
dinner.
hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like across a bridge. Like it was a whole situation.
So after 3.5 hours, what happened?
Well, if you can share.
We didn't get.
Roger, you tricked Rachel into going on your first date as well.
Well, I don't know if it was as much of a trick, but Rachel and I were also supposed to meet a group of people, and we're the only two
Like
people.
9 of us.
And we
Wait,
were literally.
Weren't you working at a restaurant or something?
Yeah.
We were, so like it was
was
like
the group, like, all the
it was like same
waiters,
thing with you
everybody,
guys. It was
like,
sort of like a group of
the
us that
group.
would go out for drinks
Except ours
after
wasn't
work.
as like chic. Theirs was on a movie set, and ours was in a restaurant.
Yeah, we were waiters. Okay,
Yeah, I know.
we were in a
I was a
service
hostess.
business. Okay,
I was a hostess.
Well, for what it's worth, Cash was taking pictures of
Okay.
contact
Fair.
lenses.
Fair.
Yes,
And likely sorting for green M&Ms.
Yes.
But beyond
Definitely.
that, so no, we were the only ones that
Showed up.
for this group drinks. And did you have this similar experience? Did a waiter or waitress or anyone in there say you guys make a great couple together?
Yeah. Tojo.
Same.
Holy shit!
Same.
So
And what did you say? You're like, we're not a
we're
couple.
not a couple.
Right?
We're just friends.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. But you thought about, wow, it was the first time
We
you
were
thought,
both
wow,
like,
we
oh.
could be a couple. Isn't that insane that has happened
It's true.
more
Yeah.
than one occasion? And
I
we
love
had the
that.
same experience as bartender Josh. We just both,
God, I
we
remember
literally
Josh.
got there and we just had a drink because we're waiting for our friends. And he walked over. He's like, "You guys make an amazing couple."
Josh.
Well, that's
Okay, so wait,
sweet.
so you guys, so what happened? Did you stay together after that? Like, was
So
the
we
rest
went
history?
back. Our hotels were across the street from each other. So I walked her back to her hotel, and we hung out for a little bit. You know, I had never had allergies in my entire life. I still don't have allergies,
yeah,
but
it's
for
true.
some reason,
He got-
that night, like, we start like hooking up, and I all of a sudden get the craziest allergies. I'm like snotting. I like
His
need to.
eyes are like
Stop. This is like Hitch.
What?
You have no idea. And I sneezed.
Talk
in
about
her
no
mouth.
game.
I
No,
sneezed
we're-
in her mouth.
While we were making out, he sneezed boogers inside
in
of my
her
mouth.
It was the
God.
worst.
No, I
dead
can't.
right now.
I can't.
But you're
It was the
together.
worst.
But
It was the
gosh,
worst.
this is it. Then
Wow,
you should have known.
Jessica, I didn't
Look at
realize
Jess. Look
that
at her.
you did that for.
No, Jess
you
is
must have been
hardcore.
really
Jess
cute,
is
Cash.
hardcore. She
Cash
does
must
not
have been
get
really
grossed
good
out.
looking way
You know,
once.
it's
It was terrible. I had to go to the bathroom. I was like talking to myself in the mirror, like, what the F is wrong with you? Like, why are you doing this? Like, get your shit together.
the allergies lasted like a month. They lasted for a while.
It was crazy.
And we proceeded to still hang out, and like he would stay over, and we never like went all the way to home base. It stayed at like second base for a hot minute.
So you were like a lady, Jess.
Yeah, that's good. Well,
I
that's
like
also
that.
another thing.
He was a gentleman.
He just like, and he ate my dog's breath mints.
Oh my gosh, that was the worst. The first time I slept over in her like hotel room, in the morning, I was like morning breath. I didn't have my toothbrush. I didn't have anything. And so I get out of bed and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go wash my face. And I walk and I see a Listerine, like the Listerine mints, like a little pack. So I grab that on my way to the bathroom. I take one of the tabs out. I put it in my mouth and it tasted like vomit. And I was like, what is that? And I look and it was dog breath mints.
Oh
And so
my
I
God.
didn't have a toothbrush. They dissolved.
And they dissolved, so it was stuck on his mouth.
So you had dog breath. You literally had dog breath.
It did.
And I was like, I gotta go. I'll be back. So I like ran out of the room. It was
God.
nothing but embarrassing moments for like a month and a half straight.
Cash's dad is the smoothest person on the planet. And like I didn't know smooth Cash. Like I only met like allergy Cash.
Totally.
All his friends and family are like, Cash is like, it's like wind at his back, like his dad. He's just smooth and like stuff just happens and things just fall in his lap and life just sort of, he has swag all the time.
All the
This guy
time.
had
All the time.
no swag. And I only knew no swag Cash. And it was the first time he like lost, he had no game, no swag. But what I liked, and for me, it was the first time with any guy, because I was very terrible with guys. I was not good at dating. I didn't know how to do it. All of it. I was just like weird, insecure. And so with Cash, it was like the first time I met someone and I felt like I called my best friend actually the day I met Cash when he was taking the contacts pictures. And I was like, it's so weird. I feel like I've met this guy before named Cash and I feel like I'm just going to know him for the rest of my life. Like it just feels
Interesting.
comfortable. I was like, it feels like family. I was like, have you ever had that feeling? It's super, like it just felt really like deja vu, like it's happened. Like it already had happened.
And you could be 100% yourself.
yeah, I had no.
Because that's what I said too.
Yeah, there
Clearly
was
he could
no. I didn't want him to see me a certain way. Like nothing. There was none of that like thing that happens when you think someone's cute, right?
Right.
And you're like,
you were nervous,
oh.
but you feel like you have to put on like a full face of makeup and
Right,
like
and
be
you
this
wanna,
other
like-
person,
right.
and be guarded
No.
and be perfect. and-
Exactly. There was
It's-
just something like very comfortable. I don't
So
know
ho-
what that is.
So
but-
how long before you were dating did you decide to get married? And was it a big affair? Tell us a little about the steps leading up to that.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
if I remember.
Hello, I want to hear from them.
Well, I wasn't there. I just remember the
Well,
moment.
let's hear from our guests.
we were together for 4 years,
Right.
and then we broke up for like 6 weeks, and then we got pregnant on our breakup.
But with each other.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like,
I'm a little
okay, so
confused
had
how you get
makeup-
pregnant
Okay.
on a breakup.
Are you confused though?
Well,
Are
So
you
we
confused?
broke up.
I'm a little confused.
And I said to her, I was like, she at this time I was like super jealous of everything she was doing, and I was just like, oh, you're
It
gonna
was
go
like-
hook up with that guy.
it
You're
was
gonna go
too
hook up with that
aggressive. I
guy,
just
and I was
couldn't
just
handle it.
I like lost myself. And
I was
so
like-
she was like, I need some space, and I was like, I don't blame you. I would need space for me too. And so I said,
Well,
every
you
time,
weren't that understanding.
Every time I break up with somebody, they hate me. They like never want to be my friend again. And I was like, I promised myself I wouldn't do that if someone ever broke up with me.
You
and so
hated
I
me.
said to her, my door's always open if you want to be friends, right? And then I didn't call you. And then we didn't speak for a while. I moved to Malibu, and on the beach.
And he hooked
I
up
was
with
finding
everything.
Myself. I was finding myself.
You're
He went
finding
back
yourself.
to his old cash, like rando wannabe actresses.
I was trying to trade while my stock was high.
And he was like living with an NBA athlete, just boning everyone. And I was like torn up, and I was like, what is my life? And let's put it this way, me and Kathy Alba went on like a soul searching trip together, and we like painted.
Kathy. I love
Kathy.
painting.
We
Love
painted.
Kathy.
And then when
And then she called me one
Kathy
night.
is Jessica's amazing mother. For those of you
She is
that don't
incredible.
know who Kathy is, she's
She is
incredible.
incredible.
I love her. She's like someone you want to be your best friend. Like you forget
Yeah.
that she's Jessica's mom.
So you did the Eat, Pray, Love thing, and then what happened?
yeah, and I just think that I was a little more torn up because it's so easy. I don't know. He was just like in the bone zone.
No, I was torn up.
Sure. And then
It's easy to forget when there's a different lovely woman.
I was so torn up.
I
was
just
so torn
I
up.
just think
Super torn
Jessica.
up.
I think men handle things different than women most of the time. Deny.
Compartmentalize is how I like
we
to
got
think of it.
pregnant, and we
She
were.
called me one night and said, I miss you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I
So
miss
it's
you
the makeup
too.
sex. It was the makeup
And then
sex.
we went out to dinner. We went on a date. And
I was doing a movie in Toronto, and so it was like we didn't have that much time. It was like one day, and then it's like, all right, I'm out again. You know.
Oh my!
Yeah, and then I was
How
going
did
to Vegas.
I never know this. I've been friends with you for 20 years. How did I never?
Then
know
I was
this?
going on a guy's trip to Vegas. Of
course you
And she's back in Toronto, and she calls me like basically when we get to Vegas, and she goes, "I have a couple days off. I'm gonna fly back to LA to see you." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm in Vegas." And she was like, "Oh, that sucks for you, basically." And so I worked out a way for her to get to
That
Las
was such
Vegas,
an
and that's
awkward
where
trip.
Honor was conceived.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Las Vegas.
In Vegas.
In Las Vegas.
Okay, so the wedding, if I remember, was at your house.
Oh, the wedding was when we were.
She was pregnant, and
Pregnant.
we just woke up on a Monday, and she's like, I want the same last name as my daughter. And so we just drove to the courthouse and got married. And we thought we were just going to go into a room and sign some papers. We didn't realize that at courthouses they have like fake flowers everywhere, and like an arch,
Like-
and
It was like
it's
styrofoam.
Like
styrofoam
Vegas.
cakes.
Oh my gosh, it was so cheesy and weird.
We were like, no, we don't want this. We
They
just
were
wanted
like,
to sign
do you have
something."
any, vows? And we're like, no, we just wanted to sign the paper so that I have the same last name as my daughter, and that can be our thing, and then we can do the wedding thing late, like a ceremony or whatever. But so it was really a shotgun, and and like the security guard
Had to be our witness.
was our witness, the one that like wands you when you go into the courthouse.
This is what lasting relationships are built on, everybody.
This is the greatest.
Yeah. This
This
is what
is
it's all
why
about.
we love relationships.
This is what it's all about.
Everyone's story is so totally different.
Yeah.
And awesome.
We've thought about, certainly in my mind, like I grew up with Disney movies. So I've
Yeah.
had like Pinterest boards of my wedding.
Totally.
I have Vera Wang. I have
course.
bridal books everywhere. And in my mind, I was like, okay, we'll get married. Like we're going to have
Right.
like a proper ceremony
Sure.
and do it. And now it's been so long. Cash is like, why would we jinx what we have?
I
like,
love you, Cash.
You are the same
I won't do it
people.
either. She's
He
like,
won't.
I want to renew
I
my
said, I want
vows.
a vow renewal. He goes, I did it once. I'm not doing it again.
I said, perhaps you don't really know me. I say it once, I mean it. I don't need to say it again.
He's
You know?
scared to jinx it. He's really
I don't
scared
wanna
if we
jinx
like
it.
vow renew.
I'm cool with having like an anniversary party.
We're going to do like a
like
30
a party.
year.
I
But I'm
like
not
that.
cool with having to renew vows and like reaffirming love. Like, if you don't know that I love you, then like, get the hell out.
He's so romantic.
You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
my
come
God,
on.
you guys. But okay, so this
I
is,
feel like the vow renewal. Listen. It's a nice idea, so I don't want to.
we're going to do
the
something
thing
like
is,
it.
we never said vows in the first place.
No, well,
That's true.
That's true. So I think,
But I do understand
I do
Cash's
understand.
point.
You didn't
I
need
do.
vows to make this work, and
You
that's I
love
think
each other.
Cash's point.
Because
And
this is
and
how many years? How many years now?
We've been together 17 years and
Holy crap.
married almost 13.
Wow. God, Honor's
Yeah,
13.
almost 13.
I mean,
I know.
It's like a
Honor's
decade
13.
behind us, but whatever.
I remember Jessica
Yeah.
walking
We
in
did.
with that
You're an
baby
inspiration.
and being like, "This is my daughter," and I was like, "Oh my
weird.
God!" And she was so
you were
big.
like you gave birth
I
to
know.
Cash. Like she was a carbon copy of
Literally, Cash is a girl. I saw
Yeah.
on her. I was like, "Oh my God!"
Yep.
And I remember when you told me that Haven looks like you, but I was like, "But she doesn't. But she looks exactly like you. She looks like your mother. She looks like you."
If you give her some eyebrows and eyelashes,
Yes.
you can see it. But
Yes.
she's a ginger like my mom.
Cutie. these
So I have a
babies.
question. A lot of times we talk to couples that are planning a family and they get to know their couples or partners' view on kids before.
Like us, we're together
They-
18 years.
You know, we waited, I think, 13?
18.
18 years.
years.
So I really wanted to make sure I
remember
liked
that.
her.
You were like really, really like, okay, I think every year you would say, okay,
Next year.
this is the year.
Yes.
We're going to do it.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, maybe we can wait for next year. And then you're like, no,
Sure.
this isn't a good year. The next year and the next, you kept putting it
And then
off.
first time out the gate, we got Sky. It was like we weren't trying, we were not trying.
But
know.
you always were the one grabbing the babies.
Yes.
Every
That's what I always tell
time.
everyone.
Yep.
Always.
I was the one at the kids' parties without the kids.
With the kid. But you
Yeah,
were always
and hanging
getting-
with the kids.
Hanging with the
I was
kids.
like, give them to me. Give them to me.
Yeah,
I want them.
you were.
You know what, you guys? I know I don't want to speak for Roger, but like I wish I had 6. Honestly, like I thought I wanted 1,
No, I think
and then I
4.
wish I had 4.
4
But like
would
if
be
I got
fine.
6, that'd be great too. It's like the more insane. Once you're already living in the circus, just add to the circus.
No, I don't
Yeah.
have enough
Like,
time for that.
Yeah,
Honestly.
he couldn't deal with
Once
6,
they
no.
get past 3,
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard to then be like, do we want to go in again?
No, it's
That's
true.
when you start to miss the baby
It's true.
thing.
It's
but then
true.
you're like, that's when you can like, there's a
It's true.
different vibe.
It's true.
100%.
You're 100%
So it seemed to have
correct.
worked out, but I mean, I guess you didn't have any time to decide because
It's true.
It was just sort of you kind of reversed engineered
You've
the
been
whole thing.
parents since you're together.
Yeah, since we've been married.
So
Yes.
so you didn't have. Well, you had
Well,
the
they
3.5
did.
years,
Yeah,
of course.
that's
Yeah.
true.
So you had your
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
together.
But you had a shakeup.
Yeah.
But by the way, that shakeup was good.
It was a good shake.
That was
Yeah.
a good shakeup. We
Sometimes
got
you
honor
need
out of that
Sometimes
shakeup.
you need to shake it up.
we got honor after that. Okay.
So what's quarantine like for you?
Cash is having a great time. He's
Oh my God.
perfected his golf swing online and in real life and IRL. You learned how to also do fitness every day.
Quarantine has been
self-care
very.
over here.
Yeah,
The
you're
last
looking
20
great, Rod.
20 pounds.
I know
So
you're looking
shredded.
great.
I'm
Never been in better
shredded.
shape
I've
in his
never
life.
I've never had a 6-pack in my whole life. I literally have a 6-pack. It's the craziest thing.
I feel like Cash has always had a 6-pack, Jess.
No, he hasn't. I caught those like selfies, those like thirsty selfies on his phone, and I was like, "Who are you sending these to?" And he
Nobody.
was like, "I just want to see, you know,
Because
the
it won't be
difference."
like this.
By the way, I took
forever.
Before-
pictures also one day. I was
Yes.
like, "There's 0% chance I'm ever gonna have no body fat. Like ever. Like there's 0% chance." I'm 52 though. I'm like old, so it's crazy.
40, he had a gut. Cash? Wait,
crazy.
Jess, I feel like Cash, it's like you with your skin, Jess. I feel like Cash has always been like,
No,
but I
he
do
never
remember-
had a 6-pack. He always had like a little like dad belly pooch
But
because
back
he's
to the
naturally
question,
fit.
quarantine has been miserable. Like I think one of the things that has allowed us to stay together so long is that we're not together all the time,
Right,
and so
right.
you're able
Most
to
people.
have some distance, and you're able to.
Yes.
She travels a lot. I travel a lot, and
Yep.
you know we're able to miss each other.
Yep.
Quarantine, we're on top of each other nonstop, and so.
Yep.
You know, even every small thing that I do probably is amplified and annoys her even more
Yep.
now. Like, there's not a lot of things that like make you love me more during quarantine.
No, here's
By the
thing.
way, I feel
He
like
did-
I'm
do
only
that.
going downhill here too. There's
He
0%
did some, like,
chance I can
very-
keep this up. I
It's
can't
like,
keep this
I
up.
I
Help
never
me.
thought she would give me shit for working out, and now it's like,
By the way,
he
me
works
too.
out
She's like,
every day.
she's like,
That's
she's
all
like,
he cares
going,
about. I'm like,
she's like,
what
oh,
the
going
hell?
on a hike. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes,
I'm like,
I'm going
have
on a hike.
fun.
Where the hell do you?
Toodles.
Where would I?
I got the kids.
I'm in the
I'm good.
freaking house. What would you like me to do? I must do something. And she's like, oh, going on a hike. I'm like, yeah. And
You
meanwhile,
guys are
she
like
used to be
caged
like,
monkeys.
she used to be like, oh, wouldn't hurt to like work out now and then. She used to be like that.
And 100%. I would love to see you rip, babe. And now, like, I try to get in shape, and
Oh,
she's like,
and then the best part
"Oh."
is I'm like, baby, how does it feel like to have like a husband that looks like this? She goes like, now she picks something and she's like, well, if
What,
you
do you
weren't,
really wanna say
well,
what
if
my
you weren't
response-
such a degenerate all the time, da-da-da-da, then I'm like, oh, I'm like, you met me as a degenerate.
I'm
Come
like,
on.
you're 52, not 25. You're not the inverse.
I'm like, I'm not changing, so let's just move on with this. Come on.
I do want to bring up something, and we have so many questions, but there is something that I learned from Jessica long ago that she probably doesn't even remember. There was a long time ago, I feel like you definitely had kids. And I remember, I think it was when Sky was a baby, and we were staying at that hotel that used to have a different name in Soho that we don't stay at anymore. And there was a hotel that we stayed at. And I remember running into you guys there. And it was super late at night. And I remember, I believe Cash and Roger walked to get a drink or whatever. And Jess hung out with me in the room. And I said, oh, do you have the kids? And I think you didn't, maybe, because it was a quick trip. And I said, oh, what's that like? Because I was getting used to parenting and trying to like separate a little bit. And Jessica said, you know, it's interesting. Sometimes I have to remind myself how much I like Cash. And I said, and she said, because I always love him. I always love him. But, you know, sometimes you have to like remember to like each other. And I remember how much I like him. And that stuck with me forever because, of course, I love Roger. Of course, I love him. We're like 100 years in.
Like me.
I just sometimes really don't like him, and I want to like hit him with a frying pan, and like, you know. But it really stuck with me because I had never heard anybody say that before. And I think in relationships, you know, Roger and I always say, weirdly, the easiest thing about our life is our relationship, right? Because life is really hard, you know? And I think that misconception is people are always saying marriage is so much work and marriage, and of course it is, it has its things. But ultimately, to your point earlier, when you guys met and Cash was having all these allergies and you could be yourself and stuff, that's the easy part about when something works, right? And so, but I do think it's important, and myself included, to like remember that you really like each other. And there are times where you may not really like each other. And it goes back to like when I was growing up and my parents would be like, when I would like get in trouble, I'd be like, you hate me. And they'd be like, I could never hate you. I love you, but I'm disappointed in your behavior, which obviously cuts to the soul even worse. But I think it goes along with that concept, right? And so I guess my question is, you know, we've spent a lot of time with you guys, but I think the thing about being with Cash and Jess, you guys do take a lot of humor in each other. Jessica, you are tough and awesome and very strong.
Can I tell you the story of which I think is really fitting about Jessica's toughness? So can I tell you the first?
Oh my God, I know what you're gonna say.
I think everyone would enjoy this story. Cash, you might even know. You might not have heard the story. The first time I ever met Jessica Alba.
This show is brought to you by our show's new sponsor, BetterHelp Online Therapy. This past year has been full of challenges for everyone. I think it's important to say that, first of all, if you've been struggling, you are most definitely not alone. And more importantly, there's no reason to be ashamed, because in 2021, the shame around mental health is officially outdated and very out of style. Having a peaceful and healthy mindset sometimes takes a lot of extra support. That's why therapy is so essential, and thanks to BetterHelp, it's more accessible and convenient than ever before. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't even have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. Because let's be real, some days another video meeting is not something you want any part of. And you know what? That's perfectly okay. BetterHelp is much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours, which honestly is truly incredible because it's hard to find an in-person therapist who can fit you into their schedule on such short notice. But the truth is, if you've made the decision to focus on your mental health and actually feel better, you shouldn't have to wait to get the help you deserve. So please join the millions of people who are seeing what therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Works For Us listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/works. That's BetterHelp.com/works. Okay, so when choosing a deodorant brand, I sometimes feel like I'm honestly making the choice between a product that works, but is full of harsh chemicals, and a product that's natural, but very rough on my skin and way less effective. But with Each and Every, I've finally found a deodorant that measures up to my standards. Each and Every is a natural deodorant that has no chemicals or hidden ingredients, and it actually feels silky and smooth on my skin. But most importantly, it really works. Each and Every has been found to fight odor as well as antiperspirant without the aluminum. And let's just say I can attest to that because Roger's been using it too. And if it didn't work, trust me, I'd be the first to know. It doesn't stain or streak clothing, which obviously is so important to me. I've loved using the new limited edition white chamomile and bergamot scent. It smells so fresh and amazing. I'm shocked I just said that about a deodorant. I mean, what's actually happening? But honestly, I love the simplicity of this product because they use just 6 safe ingredients like dead sea salt, coconut oil, and essential oils, so I know I'm not putting anything harmful on my skin. And if I didn't already love them enough, Each and Every is also a better choice for the planet. Their unique sugarcane packaging is the first eco-conscious carbon-negative packaging used in deodorant. So trust me, you're gonna love Each and Every, and lucky for you, a fantastic deal to offer to our listeners. For a limited time only, you can get 30% off your first purchase. So go to eachandevery.com/Zoe and use promo code Zoe. That's 30% off with promo code Zoe at eachandevery.com/ZOE. Spring is a refreshing season that inspires us to shake up our routines and our habits. It's the perfect time of year to renew our minds, our bodies, and to focus on our health. As we make our way out of the winter months and head into warmer weather, let Care of help. All of Care of's products are formulated with good-for-you, clean ingredients that are backed by science, and all of your recommended supplements come in daily, individually wrapped packets that are perfect for helping you adjust to your healthy new habit. Care of is also super transparent about the research and sourcing behind each one of their products, which allows you to rest easy knowing that you've made the right choice in your supplements. And Care of goes above and beyond to make sure that you're choosing what's right for your goals and needs. Care of's in-depth online quiz asks you questions about your diet, your lifestyle, and your health concerns to help address your specific wellness goals. Seriously, this quiz is like getting a one-on-one consultation with a nutritionist without ever having to leave your house. How amazing is that? You'll get a personally tailored approach to your unique health needs, and who doesn't love something that's custom tailored for them? I know I do. In my quiz, I mentioned that my goals were reducing stress and getting better sleep, and Care of recommended ashwagandha and magnesium to help me do exactly that. I like to know what I'm putting into my body, but I don't always have the time to be as thorough as I'd like to be. So a company that does the research for me directly and focuses on my specific needs is exactly what I'm looking for. So try Care of today and make this season a great one. As a Works For Us listener, you can get 50% off your first Care of order by going to takecareof.com and entering code RachelZoe50. That's takecareof.com and enter RachelZoe50.
I was new to LA. I was at Benny Medina's house. We were all at Benny Medina's holiday party, I want to say. Remember, he used to have those holiday parties at his house? And I was at the bar, and for whatever reason, I think I was like not drinking or something like that.
You were drinking. You ordered a Jack and Diet Coke.
Oh, I apologize. You're right, I was drinking. I ordered a Jack and Diet Coke.
Wait, how old was I?
And this woman that I had never met before, that I subsequently learned was Jessica Alba, looked over and she goes, "What kind of a man orders a Diet Coke with a Jack Daniels?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I just don't have the sugar. You know, I come to LA." And that was the first words that Jessica Alba had ever spoke to me.
And you know what he said? He said, "I'm kind of afraid of her and I kind of love her."
I'm like, I'm kind of afraid of her and I kind of love her. It was the best thing. It was a great.
I was like, "Okay, it's Jess. She's awesome."
So that was my first introduction. So I do remember that very well. It was very funny.
I want to go to what Cash said here. Cash, you've been quoted saying that you and Jessica are completely aligned in, quote, not raising assholes. And we obviously both feel strongly like that. But
so hard.
How do you do that? What are your rules for that?
I really want to know because
we work on that too. I mean, it's challenging in this
especially
town,
boys.
Right? And Cash, you grew up here, Cash, right? So
yep.
You
I grew
kind
up in
of
Los
know,
Angeles.
right?
I'm strict.
Yeah, we're strict. I think
and we have boundaries.
And humility, like in anytime we can reinforce that they need to be humble and they need to be appreciative and that they're humans just like the next. Like, we reinforce it. We don't care who's in front of us, what's
Sure.
going on. We're going to put them in
we'll
their place.
scold our kids in front of people and make them uncomfortable sometimes.
Right.
Because, like, you know, you have to nip it right when it happens in order to adjust their behavior. And I would say, I'm relentless. You're a little easier, and you definitely let me take the bad cop role
Yeah, that's fair. With the girls.
with the girls.
Yeah.
With Hayes, I think it's
there would be
different.
0% chance I could discipline a woman. Like a
girl.
I would be like,
if he had a little
I'd be
girl,
like, oh
you
my
guys,
God,
if Haven,
Buttercup. I'd probably
if
call her
Haven looked at
Buttercup.
him and asked him, "Are you?"
No,
we have friends
this
with little
sass
girls.
that
he
comes
would
out of our
spo-
kids' mouth.
But Jess, how are you with your dad? I've gotten in 3 fights with my dad my whole life, and I fight with my mother every day.
I fight with my mom every day.
Right.
And my dad and I, when we've had fights, it's like the most heart-wrenching,
Yeah, of course.
like awful,
Yes.
devastating thing. But it's certainly, it's the same thing.
Right?
It's the same.
And,
Yeah,
and
it's
what
so
about
true.
you with Hazy? I mean, he can do no wrong.
He can do no wrong.
He can do no wrong. He's a cherub. He's such an asshole. He's an actual asshole, though. By the time my girls were 3, they definitely had nose and toes, which they go in the corner, nose and toes in the corner for 10 seconds. That's our rule when they're like about 2 and they start getting naughty. And then they have to, the bad punishment, like when they like make someone bleed on purpose or they like deliberately try to.
What's going on over there?
When they're stabbing somebody.
Well,
You
you
know,
know,
you didn't
like-
have
when they're
girls.
playing with knives, you know.
I don't know.
Like for some reason they all have figured out how to like get something hard and smash it in someone else's face.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know,
Or
whatever
nails.
that is. Of
course.
So then that's when they get in the bathroom, door closed, on the footstool they have to sit. And again, 10 seconds.
Yeah, of
'cause
course.
they're toddlers.
Yeah.
And they lose it. They lose it. So by the time they were both 3, Honor and Haven multiple times. Honor not as many times as Haven. Haven would smack Honor and then walk over to the corner and sit there.
She would put herself
She
in
put
timeout.
herself in timeout because she like knew where to go. She just needed to get that smack in.
She was like, cool. She's like, I'm going to get that
She would be
smack.
like, boom, and then she'd go and walk her little self.
She was like down for the punishment. She was
And then
like,
Totally.
I'm down.
And she'd like put her head down.
And it was worth it for her.
That's
It was worth
hilarious.
it. Yeah.
I love
But
that.
Hayes,
I'm
I've
sorry
only
to
done
say,
it
I
once.
actually love that.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
She's
Hayes has only gone there once. The
Only
beautiful-
once.
Of course.
Yeah.
Even though he's
Beautiful.
probably deserved it more than anyone.
No, but the girls probably spoil him too, right?
Oh yeah, we all let him
Everybody.
get away with
Yeah.
everything.
You
He's so
don't have a
wild.
chance.
I was
You
the
don't
young.
have a
I
chance.
No,
was
we don't
the,
have a
That's
chance.
like Roger.
Yeah, my
Two very much
I
older
was
sisters.
My older sisters were 6 and 8 years older, and I was the boy.
Oh,
Like, the
yeah.
third kid boy.
And by the way, you guys, for what it's worth, a week ago, I asked his sister what he was like when he was little. She goes, he just got everything he wanted. He did anything he wanted. He gave us candy to clean his room and then went to play with his friends, and we did anything he asked. My mother did anything he asked, held him till he was 10. Like, okay.
Yep.
Means so
All of it.
much.
All of
Oh,
it.
so
I'll tell you another.
much.
In addition to punishment, I
Yeah.
think teaching them about compassion.
Yes,
and
most important thing.
Trying to like have the raise
Empathy,
them to have
compassion.
empathy and,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
compassion and
Our
to
kids have a
understand.
lot of empathy
They do.
naturally
Yeah.
for whatever reason. That's something we actually don't. It's almost too much. Like I got in so
Roger's
much.
like, toughen up.
No, yeah, by the way, I'm like, Sky, my kids are such goody-goodies. Sometimes they're like, Dad, you didn't put the blinker on when you changed lanes. I'm like, calm down, kid. You know, like, I'm like, who invented these kids? They're-
Yeah, ours love to follow rules, and they're
is
definitely
good.
like that. But so the adjustment of that, because you don't want them to be corny, is I
Right.
like talk to them about swag and how they have to like operate with people.
Sure.
Like you can't be too thirsty. Like you don't need to take all these selfies all the time because you just look extra. Like I
Build
talk
a
to them.
multi-billion-dollar company. You have to have swagger. You gotta have swagger.
So,
I
so
mean,
I want to ask a question. We were talking a lot about the kids getting in trouble, but when was Cash the biggest in trouble? Like, what was your biggest fight?
yeah. Like, what do you? I feel like you guys are similar to us. You bicker,
Oh,
like you bicker and recover, right? Or no?
Yeah, we bicker a lot.
I remember one fight was when I went to a bachelor party.
Oh, yeah.
When you were pregnant.
Yep.
That
Oh,
didn't-
that
that
was
wasn't
one of our
smart.
biggest.
I would have never done that.
Yeah, I was 8 months. I was 8 months pregnant, and he went to Vegas. I was like, really?
I might have
Yeah.
been late for my own child's birthday party. That wasn't great.
Yeah.
4 in the morning. So he was like, I'll be back by 10. I don't hear from him. Nothing. Doesn't answer his phone. 4 in the morning, this fool rolls in. I'm like, don't you dare even think about coming upstairs. and I'm screaming. And he lays on the couch, and I'm like, don't you dare think you're going to be able to sleep in this house. I already threw all his clothes out the window.
No
She was
way.
so mad.
You're
She
one of
was so
those?
mad.
I
She
would have
was
done
Oh
that.
my God.
I pulled him off the couch while he was asleep.
I
Pregnant.
was so hammered. I couldn't even think straight. I
And
couldn't walk. I was like, can we
He
do
couldn't
this
walk,
in the morning?
and he had to go sleep in the car.
It was terrible.
Gosh,
I
I'm
wouldn't
pretty
let
sure
him
you and
in the
Roger are
house.
kindred spirits.
Cash, I love you.
I mean,
I was like, let's do this later.
Justin,
Let's
he
fight
goes,
later.
can
Why do I
we-
have to do this now? I just want to sleep.
That's what he
Right
was
now.
like,
I
can
just
we
want
just talk
sleep.
about this later? He's like, it's
you're-
going to be
we're
fine.
I'm
I
like,
was like,
it's gonna, like whatever
listen
happens is
to
gonna
Bella, like-
happen. Like, why are we doing this this second?
do you know what I did? The most hungover he ever was, and I was
love
so mad at him. I actually made him hang every piece of art in our house perfectly aligned, like with a hammer and nails. And I was like,
one of those balance things. I had to do it because I was in so much trouble. 'cause I was-
literally.
Yeah, that was my punishment.
And he showed up drunk to Skylar's second birthday. It was really special. From Vegas, straight off the plane. It was really that.
All
Was
right, so
really-
how about let's turn around. How about the most fun you've ever had? Do you guys remember a moment where you're just like, woohoo? We
Okay,
are
don't reenact
awesome.
that. Don't reenact that.
Well, there's no one's seeing this.
Yeah, let
You know,
Jess
so
do it.
much.
Let
So
Jess do
many
that.
times.
She's cuter when she does that.
I know she has
I-
amazing TikTok moves, by the way.
Yeah, she does.
And I saw actually
So does
Cash is
Honor.
getting into it too. Cash had some good moves.
I would say, don't you think that when we go on alone adult vacations, when we remember that we like each other and we get to actually like be friends and not like, I feel like we're constantly wearing, it's like we're parents. We have to
Yeah,
like, you know,
it's
it's
true.
like you're almost roommates. It's like,
Yes. Yeah.
there's like rule,
Yeah.
all the stuff, you know, all the
Totally.
responsibility. But when we get to sort of like let go of it and just like be in the moment and not have any responsibility towards anything other than just being present.
Yep.
So Jamie and Kelly's
St. Bart's.
anniversary in St. Bart's
Yeah.
was one, and then I would say my birthday. Remember in Morocco and
In Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, that was fairly
I think
recent, wasn't that?
Yes.
Like, wasn't that in the last? Yeah, that was like in the last
a couple
2
years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
We had a
Yeah, I
we've had a
try and do
blast.
that more often, and then Rachel's like, I wonder what the kids are doing now.
We
Like, I don't
miss
care what the kids are doing right
we
now.
miss the kids, mind
What
you.
am I
always
doing
miss
right
the
now?
kids.
No.
Yeah.
But you know what, Jess? Here's the thing. You guys are younger. Here's the thing. You're a younger parent. So for us, I think we pushed it as late as you kind of can in a way. But I think, you know, so for me, it was easier to kind of like stay home and like, you know, I had done most, you know, like we had a long time together. And I think for me, I always used you guys as this like young power couple with children that were able to find somehow that balance of being able to leave your kids and do your work thing and travel and but still be like incredible hands-on parents, because that's something that I think when you're younger parents building your career, you have to make that choice. Like you have to say, if I'm going to build a career and be a young parent, guess what? Like there's going to have to be sacrifices that I make. And I guess
Absolutely.
what's the psychology there? Because I imagine it's something like, this is kind of for you guys. We're doing this for you. But I guess, you know, what, because you have had to leave for long stretches of time. And you know, I really admire it. It's incredible. And you're still just so hands-on and you're such incredible parents. So how do you do that?
I
Both
mean,
of
I
you.
would say actually since I had the kids, I don't go away for long periods of time, to be honest.
Right.
The longest I've ever gone was like 10 days once.
Yeah.
But
That's long. That feels long.
It does feel long when you're
Yeah.
there, but I would say that the hardest part for me is when we're home and we're grinding every day going to our offices. Like Cash
Yeah.
started his company the same year I started mine.
Yeah.
And when you are founding a company and actively involved in building your business, you wear so many hats and you're
Yep.
part of HR decisions and
Yep.
product development and marketing and just like the foundational infrastructure of supply chain and operations and your
Just in the weeds.
financials and all of it. You're in the weeds of everything.
Yep.
And so I would say that like carving out family time when you're grinding every day and building something for
So
me has
hard.
been a struggle.
Yep.
And I have a lot of emotional I struggle with it all the time, and I would say that during quarantine, I felt like with Hayes, this is the first baby where I don't feel like I missed his I missed that stage of their life. Because with Honor and Haven, I definitely feel like I missed the small moments, the bath time, even though I came home for the night feeding.
No, but it's different.
It's different when it's like a 15, 20 minute, like, you know, then when you're there with every meal, you're watching them grow, you're watching their vocabulary develop, you're watching them discover things, you know, you're there for all the good, the bad, the everything in between, everything. And so the quarantine has been amazing. Also, like, Honor went from being like 5'3" to 5'7".
The sickest thing I've ever seen.
Like, she's like
so
a
tall.
real person.
Tall, you
She went
guys.
from like a kid to like a woman. Even though she's not a woman, she's still a kid. But it just, you're like,
it's bizarre. She looks like she's a senior in high school. For sure.
Yes.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
No.
You were like TikToking in the beginning of quarantine, and I literally grabbed Roger. I was like, oh my God, that's Honor.
So-
just had a heart attack.
So I have a question for you, Jess. So you were, you know, again, just from outside looking in, something I've always thought about, you know, it seems for most people like being an actress, you know, is a good gig, right? People like love you, you get paid to like, you know, go on exotic locations, whatever. It seems like a good gig. What made you decide to be like, you know what? I also want to try and create a I mean, at that point, maybe it wasn't thought of as a multi-billion-dollar company. But what made you sort of, because obviously that was going to take away from your, I guess, time or career. I think subconsciously you must have made some decision. And was it, you know, I've always thought about this as like acting, almost like modeling. Are people thinking that what's my next move, or like what am I going to be when I grow up?
More.
Like, I just wanted to understand, because, you know, honestly, you know, Gwyneth
pun
Paltrow
intended.
is similar. You know, you're like, wow, she's like a, you know, Oscar-winning actress. You know, what makes her what? Because I know what it takes to start a business. Cash, we all do. We're all entrepreneurs, and it's real work. And you know what? It's also
And it's
uncomfortable.
brutal.
There's also a lot more uncomfortableness, I would imagine, than maybe like being the, you know, the A-list talent going into a set. You know, you have to sit there and pitch and ask for money, and you know, it's a lot more humbling, I guess. So, how's that experience different?
I actually feel like it's much more humbling and humiliating being an actress.
Interesting.
You're constantly scrutinized. You're constantly told you're not enough. It's like for the every win that you see me in,
Yeah, it's like
you
outside
don't
looking in.
realize the thousands of rejections. I mean, I was wildly insecure as an actress, and I would say,
And a lot of times it's so surface, so shit you can't change. So it's like you just don't look like the part, what
Yeah.
the director had in mind for
Totally.
the role. You just don't
Yeah.
look like it, and so you can't change the way you look. And so,
Totally.
Right.
so it becomes so superficial, and like
Yeah.
no matter how much you bring to the table, how professional you are, because it isn't about exotic locations at the end of the day. It's
Right.
about
Right, of course.
being able to put in an 18-hour day and being on and knowing your lines and hitting that mark and being on and being consistent and never being tired. And always being able to turn it on no matter what. And also being Gumby. I mean, at the end of the day, it's also not even, you put your heart and soul into whatever you're doing, but at the end of the day, they don't want it. They want to manipulate
Yeah.
you into this idea of who they need you to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so then your performance is completely thrown out because it's
Yeah.
just about the editor and the producers and how
Yeah.
they want it to show up. And so I would say
so
that it's
interesting.
much more empowering when I can have an idea. Sure, it was like, good luck with that one. But I got rejected for 3 years. I was used to rejection, man. I have a thick skin. I mean,
You
frankly,
do
no
have
one.
a very thick skin.
Yeah, no one
Very.
thought in Hollywood, like, there's no nepotism. I wasn't Gwyneth Paltrow coming into this business. You know, I wasn't blonde. I didn't look like other girls. My dad or mom wasn't in the business, or uncles or aunts or nothing. And I was just coming in, and I was just like, I'm just going to figure this out, and I'm going to make it hard for them to say no to me. And so that's just like how I got work. And I just like hustled, and I think that's
It's all about hustle. That's
like
what's so funny. You know,
perseverance, you
it's
know?
so funny because people ask me all the time, you know, listen, I've obviously known Rach for 30 years. There are probably actresses that are worse than you, better than you. Who the hell cares?
yeah.
But the reality is what I always say, and there are styles that people have a better eye, a worse eye, whatever, and it's all subjective anyway, right? At the end of the day. But
doesn't
it's all
even.
subjective. But what I do know, because I was with her, she outworked them all. She outworked them all. I witnessed it 20 years straight, missing birthdays, missing dinners, missing everything because the only thing that mattered was how our clients looked, frankly. The only thing. And that's, again,
Well,
I
making
think,
them feel good.
I
making
think
them
that's
happy.
the recurring theme. Is like, this did not just happen overnight.
What's cool is like it's been so fulfilling. I would say that where Hollywood gave me the ability to financially be secure, which is really my biggest motivation, to have that financial security in order for me to then have the capacity to dream about what I really wanted to do with my life, you know?
That's the business side.
When you're literally just like trying to survive, it's hard to dream.
Yeah, a cool
And-
transition that I saw was when we first got together, her heart and soul, she poured that into acting. She poured that into Hollywood. And it's such an unforgiving business that it was oftentimes one-sided where she didn't get it wasn't reciprocated. And her starting Honest, she was able to kind of separate. And so she poured her heart and soul into Honest, and she poured her love into Honest, and that was giving her that love back. And she was very much able to treat Hollywood like a transactional business.
Sure.
And it's interesting that with Honest becoming successful and growing to the scale that it has, it's almost flipped now. While Honest still has heart, it very much is a business. And,
Yeah, of
and now
Totally.
she's gone back to acting,
Yep.
and she rediscovered that joy and rediscovered that love for acting again.
It's like you have to fulfill this too, but now it's elective. And that's the difference. There's a difference between working to live and living to work. And I think at the end of the day, when you are, as you said, doing it to survive, you almost forget why you're doing it, you know? And the truth is that, I mean, you know, another story, another Jessica thing. See, Jess, your words really do affect me. I remember we were at a birthday dinner for Jamie long ago at that little restaurant on La Cienega. It was, I don't even think it was a real restaurant. Someone was cooking dinner for him. And we were all there. It was a small group of us. And Jessica and I walked outside in the back like we did sometimes just to catch up. And just, I remember her leaning on the wall and just going, yeah, so I'm going to start this all clean, chemical-free line for babies. And, you know.
No, it was for families. It was
for families. You did say for families. And
For
I
families.
said, really? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, there's just nothing clean. Everything has all these chemicals and I want to change it. And like, she gave me this like 5-minute like spiel about it. And I just remember staring at her like, you know, I really feel like you're totally going to do this. Like, it wasn't like, because listen, you guys, we all have friends that they're ideas people, right? They dream, but they don't follow through.
Yep.
And the thing about Jessica that I would say is whatever she says, you better be damn sure she's doing it, you know? And Cash, the thing is with you is I think, you know, I don't think anyone realizes how awesome Cash is. And that's why I always say I'm like the
Let's
number
talk
one.
about Cash for
I'm
a
the number
second.
one Cash fan.
I
Because,
mean, Jessica's fine and all,
but
but
Jessica's right. Cash, you have swagger. You do.
He does.
Like,
And I think the thing that really inspired me to even think that I could possibly ever start a business is by that time, Cash was on his third business. So
Right.
Cash
Yeah.
started and sold
Yes.
2 businesses.
Yep.
And then this was his third, and he had such a like fearlessness about
Yep.
like he didn't know about putting together a digital media company. He just did it. You know,
Yep.
his first company was basically TikTok. It was like a competition social media platform called I Beat You. And
I remember I beat you. I still have the deck.
yeah, and it was just like he just was so fearless about like putting it together and like making it happen, and then like went through the motions, learned as he went, and then like sold it, and then was like on to the next one. And so by then I was like, well, if this fool, he was always so chill.
Yeah.
Nothing ever bothered him. He's like so relaxed. I'm always like so tightly wound, so stressed. He's so smooth, so
It's so
chill.
annoying.
Like, it's such a quality life. And I'm like, if he can do this, I know that I can probably do it. And I had this idea, and he just kept looking at me blank. He's like, what you're saying is just sounds so complicated. And I realized like he knew how to make something complicated, distill it to something very simple, and in order for people to like want to get on board with his ideas. And that's what I had to learn over my 3 years of getting rejected, was how to take this really complicated idea and turn it into something very simple and tangible.
That's so interesting. And what you just said is something that I've been saying a lot lately, and it's something that I've been trying to do in my own sort of career, life, whatever, is what I've realized lately is the only reason why you don't do something is because you physically don't do it. Like if you want to start on, it's like you say,
have to make it happen. No one's making it happen.
You incorporate the company, you say who wants to be involved, you just do it. And it's so interesting how I think there's so many people that don't go after their dreams or whatever it is because they just don't put one foot. They don't put one foot in front of the other. They think about the whole entirety of it. They don't think about putting one foot in the other, and that it's been 10 years. The other thing I wanted to mention, Jessica, now it's like such a normal concept, like, oh, this actress has a company and this person is on this thing. Let's not forget, this business is 10 years old, but you were pitching it for 3 years behind that. 13 years ago, it was not a very, I would say that this sort of,
no way,
we'll call it celebrity meets brand.
How about female?
Yeah, well, it was, of course, that's even more so.
Yeah.
Oh, I got laughed out of many rooms.
But I'd like to give you accolades because, in many ways, I also think about that, in terms of Rachel, even with styling and showing people that world. I think Rachel was one of the first, people out there that could show that being the best at your profession, even if it's not an actor, an NBA player, people just used to look up to actors and musicians and athletes. That was it. Actor, musician, athlete. And I think Rachel was a whole part of the wave, that was with all the chefs and everyone else. It's like, wow, I ain't going to be an athlete. It's not happening. So that I don't relate to that, frankly.
It's brand building.
I relate to
like the
this
influencer,
person or that person, and that was really the beginning of all of this. So I think that in the sort of business meets, putting the brand name or the recognition or the media spotlight along with the brand, and especially that you're doing something for good, the products. I think it's amazing. So I wanted to give you that accolade.
And then
that's cool.
So you guys, actually, you know what? I really want to ask you this. What is it that makes you guys work? What is your magic? What's your secret sauce? And is there one? That's my question. Both of you.
And please don't tell me you're filing for separation.
Shut
today. No.
There's a long pause.
No,
there.
They were thinking about it.
Tonight we're having a date night.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
We're having a little staycation.
Cute.
Yeah, we get to have a little getaway. What
Cute.
makes us work?
I'm asking. I'm looking at you.
I think our friendship. Truthfully, it's so corny, but it's true.
No.
I think that just the friendship, the fact that we can talk about anything, we can sit down, we can make each other laugh, we can piss each other off. The best friendship, that trust.
I think
yeah, like ride or die, like we're in it.
Yeah.
Like we're both committed to being in it, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
The second you can choose to be in it is when you're like, I don't know, I can probably choose to not do this anymore. The second that happens, that's when it gets weird.
People are ultimately selfish. And I think that some people put on the table that if this isn't working for me, I'll only go this deep. So I know that we're never gonna get into the part of our relationship where anything's at risk.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. And I think that people put that on the table like, oh, well, I could leave. And once you put that on the table, you're going to. It's like once you're looking for a new job, you're never staying in the job. Ever, ever.
When you look for the new job, you're over the job.
Ever. So you got to really know that you're not looking for that
true.
job. And if that's off the table, then I think your marriage or your partnership could work.
The other is growth. I think that, and it's hard to plan for it, but we really do what we're helping each other grow, and we're growing with each other. And I think that the moment one becomes stagnant and the other one's really pushing for growth, it's challenging. Or if you're growing apart, it's really challenging. And so it's like finding a way to support each other on our own paths in your own growth. And so,
Yep.
her helping me on my path, and it doesn't
Yep.
mean our paths have to converge and we have to be doing the
course.
exact same thing.
course.
It's just supporting each other in your own growth.
It's hard and complicated.
Yeah, you guys mentioned though that you started your business at the same year.
Pair of Thieves. We got into Target first.
Yeah, he
We
got
were in
into Target before I
Honest.
did.
I remember when you got
By the
into
way,
Target.
this is where I was going with this. Was there any competition? It seems like there might have been.
No.
Just
No.
friendly.
No, it's
No.
very different.
Because when I started Pair of Thieves, I didn't want to raise a dime for it. I wanted to self-fund a business that I didn't need to answer to investors, and it's a business that I didn't need to raise money. Some ideas in some businesses, you need to build a moat around it. You need to figure out how to create something
Capitalize
defensible,
it,
and
yeah.
one way to do that is to raise a shit ton of money like Honest did, because that scares off other entrepreneurs from wanting to go try to copy Honest out of the
Sure.
gate. Whereas with mine, I wanted to either it was going to be a profitable business or we were just going to lose a very little amount of money. And now we've
Wow.
got close to 60 employees.
It's a
Wow.
and now you guys are going to hire off of Pair of Thieves.
And on it.
Or both.
Yeah, and both.
What's cool? Yeah, so
The acronyms, POT and THC.
yeah, POT.
It's
and
fitting if you know me.
Oh my goodness.
It's also fitting with how we bonded when we first got together.
I love that. Oh my God, I love that.
But I would say we definitely don't have. I haven't felt like the competition exactly what Cash is saying. Just our models are so different. Our business
Yeah.
models are so different, and so each milestone is very different depending on what type of business you're building and what the infrastructure is. And then
You're also playing for the same team.
Yeah, exactly.
Very much so.
I want him to win and he wants me to win, and we'll together, the kids ultimately, right? Your legacy.
Yeah, of
it's
course.
for the kids. So
It's for the
Of
kids.
course. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I would say in Hollywood especially is that I believe there is a lot of jealousy and competition,
I agree.
especially when in the same business. And not that
I
you guys
agree.
are in the same business, but you both are entrepreneurs. And I think, when people ask us, like, what's our secret sauce? One of them is always we root for each other. There is no jealousy. And
Yeah.
people say, look, one is a little bit more front and center, one's a little bit more behind the scenes. The fact that there's no jealousy, because jealousy to me will always be the
Yeah.
most evil emotion of all,
I
especially
agree.
when it comes
Yeah.
to women.
Oh.
Because Jess and I have talked about this. There's a lot of,
Yeah,
we see a lot
it's-
of jealousy between
But it also,
women.
I mean, even with Cash and I, when we did break up, I couldn't handle the pressure of the jealousy that he had about me working. And
Right.
And I didn't like the way it was making me feel. I
Right.
really was like, this is not
and
who
by
I
the way,
am.
it's
So-
not. It's a hard thing to ask, but it's also like a hard thing to ask of someone that you're in
course.
a relationship with. Is like, be cool with me, like going on set with these like super charismatic, charming dudes that you're gonna have to pretend like you're falling in love with.
Sure.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like that would make anybody crazy.
And
Yeah.
making out with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. On my end, I'm like, it's weird, it's gross, it's not this, it's not that.
course,
But
of course,
on his
of
end,
course.
he's like,
Of course.
he'll never see that.
Brutal.
He's like,
Right.
you're
Of
just
course.
sitting there hooking up all day.
But I promise you,
Yeah.
the guys were having fun.
Which is,
I love you.
understandable that he would think that
Of
way.
course.
But it is such a like killer emotion. It's like
It's
a
funny
killer
because I
thing.
had a similar thing. I mean, again, Rachel, at the time, I was an investment banker. She was flying down to Miami every weekend,
Working with male
working with all the
models
male
and male
models
actors.
and all-
That's when I met Ashton
And then-
when he was
yeah.
a Calvin Klein model.
Yeah, like, and I had
Seriously.
I had to reconcile that very quickly in my own mind because I agree. There's nothing more annoying than a guy that's jealous over his woman. It's like
or the
most,
other way around.
It's
Also,
the most
girls.
petty. Just like honestly, like have
But
a
you
little.
know what Roger did, Cash?
Yeah.
You know what he said? Because
I-
people used to be like, how does Roger deal with it? And he literally had this, and he still says it.
I still say it.
If they can get her, they can have her.
Yes.
And it worked, you guys. Like, I never
Why be
cheated on him. I
jealous?
never.
Because ultimately,
because
it's
I
like,
was
why-
like, he didn't even care.
If they get her, they can have her. Like I'm not gonna want her. So like, why am I going crazy in my head? It's silly.
Yeah.
So go knock yourself out.
Okay, you guys. So
Hold on. I want to ask one more
Okay,
question because
before
we
we
were
get
getting
to
to like
our-
a nice, lovely moment.
I
where
could
they
talk
were
to
like-
them for 6
No,
hours,
but they were like
they don't have all
They were
that.
just talking about how nice their businesses are and how things are looking forward.
And
So
Roger's
where-
favorite conversation is
Mind
money,
you, I have
so-
been jealous too. I went on talk shows nachos and talk about how I'd cut a bitch and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
But
you know,
I like that about
but
you.
we love that about you, Jess. You're very. I think for anyone listening, guys, I think one of the things about Jessica that is, in my opinion, one of the reasons that Raj and I have always loved her is because she really just says it.
It's true.
She just says it. She is so, without no pun intended, she is so honest. And I actually really love that about her because I don't have the same. I love what a straight shooter you are. I do. I love that how genuine and how real.
So
you
where
are.
do you guys see yourself in 20 years? Like, what's this all going to end up like? You ever think about that?
You mean as a couple or as a
Yeah,
business
like kids
or
are going to be out of.
anything?
I mean, I think about what are we going to do?
What happens in
what
20
are you
years?
gonna
Travel.
do?
Yeah,
Travel.
he's been talking about it a lot.
Golf.
Because I'm very sad just thinking about the kids, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like starting their life and stuff. We're going to make our family vacations so fun that they're going to be like,
Same.
they're
So
going
that
to
the
want
kids are
to
gonna wanna
come
come?
with.
Yes.
They're going to
Yeah.
want to come.
Yes. Build and they will come, Jess. That's what my parents always said. Build and they will come.
And
Projects. Develop. Like we'll still be doing projects.
I think I'll work until I'm dead because
Yeah.
I enjoy doing stuff. Like I'm not like
Purpose.
can't wait to retire and like sit on a beach and do zero, be just
No, I
do
have
nothing.
no interest in that.
That's not what I want to do.
But I would like to play more golf.
Yeah.
That's all this guy wants to do
Yeah.
too. It's so annoying.
I think there will be a new, like real estate is something that's always really interested in us. I think you know, we've redesigned and developed and done a lot of construction.
Maybe
over
like
the
a
years
hotel or
and-
something or resort or
No, I
something
think
like
probably
that.
owning
I would love to
homes,
own
right?
a resort, right? Wouldn't it be fun to own a resort
Yeah.
and you have like the cool property in the resort and like everyone's there.
All our
you
friends
can-
can come.
And the friends
Yes.
come, they come down to dinner
But-
now and then. Like,
But
you know, it
what
seems like a lot of fun.
you know what I hate thinking about? I hate thinking about like the maintenance.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst.
I'm like, what is the water bill? What is the
Totally.
electrical bill? What's
Really?
the
I don't think
maintenance?
about that at all.
I do.
What
I
is
do,
like?
Jess.
What's the staff like?
Yeah,
How
same.
you keep them happy? How do you-
Liabilities.
Yeah, the liability. That's all
Same.
I'm
I just think
thinking
about it.
the
Hopefully,
whole
it's someone
Open
else's
swimming pools.
I just feel like it's someone else's problem. I hope that we
No,
hire
it's
someone
not.
to deal with
It's
that.
not. If
No,
you
it's
own it, it's your
never.
problem.
Yeah.
But I would, yeah, I think real estate, I also think that, you know, because we both have been entrepreneurs, we've been through it. And even just like, there's so few people of color and women that are even given opportunities to
Yeah.
start businesses
Yep.
and get funding. You know, there's some basic tricks and things that if only anyone told me, hey, know these 4 or 5 acronyms before you go in and ask for money.
Right.
Know what these things
Sure.
are. Know what they
CPA.
care about. Yeah, like
Sure.
LTV and
Right.
all those things.
Yep.
And then also like this is how the financials work when it comes to running a business. You have to think about your SG&A. You have to think about this margin versus that margin, your growth.
Like you can't
your
just be
net.
creative and have ideas. You have to know how to execute.
I think Rachel
on them.
learned that.
I
with
learned
the,
that.
with the fashion business.
I did.
It's 20% creative and 80% business.
People
I mean,
ask me now
yes.
because I've had, you know, how
Totally.
competitive it is, and young people coming up and they ask me all the time, what is your number one piece of advice? And I'm like, just because you like clothes doesn't mean you can have a business in fashion. You have to understand business.
Business
You can't
acumen.
go
Yeah.
into this life anymore without understanding business and what it means to build a business. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean you have to go to business school necessarily, but it does mean you have to have the fundamentals. You have to have that foundation in order to do this.
And it doesn't
continues
have to be that
way.
complicated.
Right.
It's,
Agreed. I agree.
Do you make more money than you spend? And it's
Yeah.
like
That's
that
it.
is that simple, right? And so
And here are
don't
all of the
over-
acronyms that they
don't
apply to that.
overcom- Pay your taxes, and make more money than you spend. And
Yeah.
if you can do that well, like
Yeah.
that,
And we take
that's where it
taxes
starts.
out
There's some
from the top.
fundamentals.
And then also like you're only as good as your team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
You know?
That I
One
learned.
weak link.
I learned that from Marc Jacobs because he's always been the one who He never takes a compliment without saying my team. He will never even say thank you without thinking.
Let's move on to some the question and answer part of our.
Before we let you go.
Yeah, this is our sort of like. Let's see. You've been together 13 years married. You talked about. Let's see how
17 years together, which is a lot.
Let's see how well you really know each other. This is one of our favorite questions we ask.
Is it weird that I know some of the answers to these questions for you guys?
I feel like I'm going to ask this one because I like this. It's really more of a Rachel question, but Jessica, what would one piece of clothing that you would throw away of Cash's if you could? Like, what do you hate that he has, that he owns, and he continues to wear?
I feel like he dresses so cute.
Is there? Ooh, this thing might have been stumped.
Cute.
He also throws a lot of stuff away all the time.
He's compulsive, I think.
I don't throw it away. I give it
No,
away.
he donates. He donates. He filters out his closet on a
Really?
pretty
He's a
regular.
filterer.
I could see that.
Pretty regular
Swagger,
basis.
honey. It's part of
I
the
just
swagger.
don't.
Yeah, he doesn't hang on to stuff.
I hate clutter.
Yeah, he hates clutter.
Wow.
I could see this.
All right, so this question
Yeah,
didn't
what
work
about-
so
He
well.
literally doesn't have any because he literally goes through everything.
Oh my
He
goodness.
constantly filters.
There's probably some sweats or something.
Hey, Cash, whenever you're filtering, I'm over here.
Okay.
We know.
All right, wait. Okay. This is
All right,
a good
next
one.
question.
You're so
This is a good
skinny
one.
now, Raj. None of my stuff.
He
will
really
fit
is.
you.
He's like 160 pounds. It's crazy.
163.
Okay.
To be exact.
So,
0.2.
all right, Jess. Who is Cash's free pass?
Ooh, I think
Does
you
he
already.
have one?
I think you already used them up, from what I understand.
No.
Oh, you didn't
no.
use them up? Sorry.
No.
Who's your free pass?
Yeah, who is my free pass?
He'll never tell me his real free pass.
Wait, is that for me to decide?
Yeah, like who would you?
I want Jessica to tell me who's your free pass and you to tell me who's Jessica's free pass.
I don't think he'll ever tell the truth. Has said
Anyone should be.
he'll say Queen Rania, but or remember you've said that before several times, but I know it's not true. I mean, basically any random hoochie thought who like opens a
You can't go from
suitcase
Queen Rania
at
to any
because I
hoochie.
know you're just full of shit. I know it's any basic thought is who he wants. Any like basic thought.
Anyone with a pulse.
Anyone with a heartbeat?
As long as she has like a good body and a cute face and her breath doesn't stink and she's into him.
But I have to say, Cash, in all honesty, like your wife might be one of the most beautiful women in the world. So it's hard to have like a I'm going to go here person, right? I mean,
Yes,
because
it is.
I mean,
I was gonna say something that might be inappropriate, right? Because she might be
Everyone's
some
a
people's
step
free
down
pass.
from my wife.
Oh, Cash.
Everyone
Okay.
is a step down.
Okay,
Here's the
Cash,
thing.
who's
After you've
Jessica?
been with anybody for
Yeah. Right,
they're
it's
just a
after
normal
2
person.
years. After 2 years, you don't care anymore. And
do
so
care. I do care.
it's just the truth. And so everyone's going to be better than that. Even a downgrade.
I don't believe that. I have
No.
seen the way Cash looks at you, and I have seen it on a night out. I've seen it in St. Bart's. I've seen it when trust me, I've seen it, and it's there. That fire's still there.
It's
Trust.
there.
All right, so next question.
No, you didn't get Jessica's free
Oh,
pass.
so sorry.
Cash, who's her free pass? Does she have one? He's getting angry thinking about it.
No, I don't know. We were on a show the other day, and they were like, "Who was your wife's like childhood crush?" And I couldn't
Really?
even think of anything.
Oh, I had
Michael
so
Caine
many.
was the name I was trying. So she could sleep with Michael Caine. She loved Michael Caine, and that's all I could think of. So that's her free pass.
So you
is
guys,
Michael Caine.
just so you know, I'm like a tween, right? Like I have like Robert Pattinson. Now I'm obsessed with the Bridgerton guy. I'm like Brad Pitt, but I mean, you know, I'm literally like a teenager. I'm like, I had posters. I literally had like posters in my room. I won Biggest Flirt in camp when I was 6 years old, you know? So I was boy crazy from a very, very young age. So
I love it.
What about
Disney?
this? No, I don't.
which
know.
Disney character
No.
is whose Cash most likely to be? I actually kind of would know that.
All right,
Jess,
fine.
who would Cash
it's
be
not
as a Disney character?
It's actually, I think it's more the Halloween costume was Dead Ringer.
Oh my God.
All right, so the,
When
so
I
the
think
question,
of Dora, I think of Jessica.
So the question for our listeners was, if you were a Disney character or cartoon, who would you most
Who would you
look
be?
like, or who would you be?
I mean, he
And-
would.
And
Tell
we
me.
literally, but we once went out on a Halloween with you guys, and I swear to God, You guys were like Diego, right?
They were
Dora
Diego
the
and Dora.
Explorer. Oh my God, Dora
I showed up
and
in some
Diego.
inappropriate, like, Cavalli caftan with, like, some makeshift costume I was trying to be. And they walk in literally, like,
You had a backpack
Dora
on.
and Diego. And I swear for the rest of my life, Dora is Jessica. I swear, because you looked with the bob and the thing. And
It was
I
a
was like, oh
classic.
my God.
Cash
killed
looked
it.
like No Country for Old Men.
I did. I looked like Javier Bardem. I did
And-
not look like Diego. I remember somebody
You were
leaning over
so
to me and being
cute.
like, I get that she's Dora, but like, who are you,
And
dude?
he goes, and then that same person said to me, he must really love you to look like this when he's out. But here's the problem. Cash and I weren't really like Halloween people. And we
You are
never
now.
like, and I know, but this is before we had kids. We just didn't really care.
Yeah, of
and,
course.
And there was no trick or treating. I guess we just never really knew that it's like a whole thing.
Kelly's brought
the
it out.
Halloween.
Now
Kelly
you're in.
Sawyer
Yeah,
brought
Kelly
it.
Sawyer
Yeah.
is the
Loves
root
it.
of all Halloween evil.
Before Kelly Sawyer, so we were wearing our costumes
I hated
that
Halloween.
we worked on very hard to put together for the kids. And I was like, oh yeah, we just wear this when we go out with the adults because we got the babysitter. We didn't know that everyone changes into their sexy costume for the Heidi Klum party at the club. And I was like, oh shit, like
Yeah, Jess, you
everyone's
still
like,
looked sexy as Dora, though.
She was
was
so
awesome.
cute.
but like
She was
everyone's
so
in
cute.
there,
It was-
like, you know.
You know what?
Everyone was sexy and
I was
slutty.
into it.
It's true.
I don't-
She's right.
I do love Halloween for that reason, but I appreciate the women that don't go there.
Okay, but wait, Jess, I still want to know who is Cash as a Disney character.
Oh, he is from the. First of all, I can't believe that in this movie where the one black princess, she's a frog, the princess and the frog,
Oh, my
and the
goodness.
guy in it, the prince in it,
Okay.
definitely looks a lot like Cash.
I would definitely put him as a Disney prince all day long. You're a Disney prince, Cash.
Oh,
you
look
are.
at that.
But
You are.
I think they
You
need
are.
a do-over. They definitely need more black princesses, and they really need a Mexican princess.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I feel like I've
Because
seen
Jasmine is like the closest.
Jasmine.
But
Jess, I'm thinking you're Mulan. You got Mulan vibes,
okay.
babe.
Yeah,
Like
she
badass.
does.
The warrior.
You
I
would
like
do that.
That's
You would
cool.
100% disguise as a boy and go
Oh, yeah.
into battle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
100% would do that. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
I like
That's
this
a good
next
one.
question.
That's a good one. I'm on
I like
there.
this next
Okay,
question.
go.
Cash, if Jessica was arrested, what would it be for?
I know this.
Speeding, like driving too fast, reckless driving.
Not
Reckless driving?
It's only reckless if you're like
Reckless
not
driving.
sober.
No, you can be dead sober and be going too fast
not
and not paying
reckless.
attention.
I pay attention.
Yeah, that's what it would be for.
Okay.
Okay,
So
okay,
let's
fair.
I
ask.
just
let's turn
like
it
to
around.
be efficient with my driving.
Automobile. I understand.
Okay, what's Cash getting arrested
what's Cash
for?
getting
Which I
arrested
already
for?
know what she's gonna say. I'll cut it if it's inappropriate.
Yeah. He's like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it.
I mean, I'll just say scootering.
No, scootering. Give me something
You're such a
better than
badass,
that.
dude.
Yeah,
like those
She's reckless driving.
Wow,
and he's
Cash. This is
scootering.
like really
You're really
helping.
living on the
This
edge.
is really helping your rep. baby.
jaywalking.
Oh yeah, you
Next thing,
but
it's like
jaywalking
jaywalking,
is annoying.
scootering.
She's like, he would get
He
arrested
fucking
for
rips out his
littering.
big wheel. It's sick. He rips out his big wheel and he's not allowed.
Throwing his gum out the window. Can you
All
make
right,
me
so-
Roger
tougher?
says. Roger
Smoking
says. Oh,
weed.
Drunk in public.
Smoking weed in public because I don't think that that's appropriate.
It used to not
I
be
agree with you.
legal. Yeah.
We
We
let
have
them
more
go.
questions.
Do we?
We have one more question.
Okay, go.
Would you want to ask the question or what? Or do you want me to?
You go.
All right. Let's see which one we would like to ask.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
What
there
is
you
your
go, Rachel.
go-to karaoke song, Rachel?
That is one. And by the way, Jessica probably knows this about me. I would rather light myself on fire than do karaoke.
Same.
I literally, it
We're
is
the same
my. I
person.
swear to God, it is. Jess and I were at a birthday. I think it was Nicole's birthday.
Yep.
Like a year or so ago, and we were just watching some of the greatest talent just get up there and karaoke, and some of
Oh,
the
yeah.
not greatest talent get up.
By the way,
fearlessly
it
and
was.
karaoke.
I believe it was Joel's birth. Joel.
Yeah, it was
and
Joel's.
Benji's
You're right.
birthday.
It was
but
Joel's.
It felt like Nicole's birthday.
It was.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
she took it over. I remember
did
that.
take it over.
Yes.
Her
and I
and Adele.
remember Jessica and I sitting at the booth, and we were the only ones, like, not
I
on
was
stage
not
karaoke.
even trying to get up there.
It is my greatest fear, and it really is. It's up there in my top greatest fears in life. So I don't even
Same.
have a song.
I wish I could let loose like that. You know, we often talk. We share that.
I couldn't care less what people think about me.
That's
Roger
amazing.
really gives zero fucks, and I care. I
Couldn't care less.
couldn't. I'm with you guys. Cash, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Couldn't care
Jess, I'm
less.
with
Too bad.
you.
I sometimes wish I had no inhibition.
Yeah, you've never sang.
I'm not good
karaoke.
at that either. No, I'm too self-aware.
Yeah. Wait. All right. Last one, you guys.
Last
Last
question.
one. Jess, what's Cash's last meal?
Like
Last
before
meal.
I die.
Yep.
Like, what would be your last meal?
I know Jessica's.
Yeah, I
Your
even
last
know
meal
Jessica's.
before you die. What is your last meal before you
Damn,
die?
that's so sad. I almost
I
cried.
like the way
just
she
now.
says "die" every time she
almost
impeats
cried,
it. It's kind of nice. She could have just said, "What's your favorite food, honey?"
Before you
got so
die.
Die.
He's weird because he's extra picky. Like he's like a
Just
weird.
name something. It does. I'm not going to hold you to it. I promise.
He likes all food. So I would say it would be like a steak, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking
like,
steak for Cash, like a
Yeah,
thick
like a steak and like
Agreed.
a vodka.
Truthfully, it would be whatever I didn't have to pick. Every night, it's like, what do you want for dinner? What do you want for dinner? What do you
Right.
want?
Oh
Like,
my
it's
God,
my
it's
least
the
favorite
worst.
thing.
We
So
fight
if-
all the time about that.
My last meal would be whatever you put before my face.
And Jessica's is Cash.
Tacos?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something in that.
it'd have to be
I mean,
Mexican.
It's Mexican.
Tacos. I
I've
think
only
we could
literally
both go for
99% of the time I
Nachos.
see Jessica eat. It's
Nachos,
Mexican.
tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I'm
Literally.
Right there with you.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, we love you so much. Keep doing world domination and keep setting
Good
the
examples
bar
for our
really
children.
high and setting great examples. And both of your businesses being so grounded in giving back is really incredible. So we love you guys so much.
Awesome. Big hugs.
Thank
Love you too.
you.
Okay, so that was so much fun. And I can't believe that for as long as we've been friends with Cash and Jess, that I never knew the like real true story of how they met, because that was fantastic.
I mean, while I was listening to that story, what kept going through my mind is, you know, that like those little Us magazine things where like celebrities, they're just like us. I'm like, holy shit, Cash ate a dog breath mint and threw up, not threw up, he sneezed in Jessica's mouth. Like, what? The fact that they are still together
Is
I think
amazing.
I think I'm on team Jessica now. I mean, Cash is just, for him to even, I think she should still be mad at him.
I was literally riveted through that episode. I was literally sitting there with my jaw to the ground as Cash was telling that story.
That was pure.
and
That,
Jess.
that was pure entertainment, and I really, you know, I think just what works for them. It's clearly that again they don't take themselves too seriously. They're very serious. They're super, you know, hardworking business people. But what's great about them is the way that they act together in the relationships. A little like us is sort of like, you can't sweat the small stuff.
Totally.
And I think the first date was maybe just an indication of all of that. Like,
Totally.
listen, it's more important the chemistry and magnetism that they felt than the hiccups along the way. So I think that was a great lesson.
I agree. Okay, babe. So we have to end with our highs and lows of the week. So what was your highlight of this week?
Well, my highlight typically revolves around food or wine.
Or sex?
Rachel,
Sorry, you said it first.
I didn't say anything. You did. I want everyone to hear that she said it first.
Nope.
Okay, so I think my highlight was when you made me a delicious egg white omelet with tortillas lightly baked and a side of veggie sausage.
You forgot the cheese inside and the fresh basil from our greenhouse.
See, those little touches that I might not even appreciate are what makes it so special and
the
why it's such a highlight.
And the presentation.
Oh, how could I forget again,
Has to look pretty.
the forgetting just the ingredients and how good the presentation is. I'm glad you're reminding me because that really is a highlight.
Okay, what's your low?
The low light is when you ignored my need for hunger and food.
Because I was with the kids.
Yes. Well, let me rephrase
They take
that.
precedence. You know that.
My low light was when you ignored my need for food and my hunger and instead decided to do one of the following things. Feed Skylar, feed Caius, feed Rachel, our homeschool teacher, feed our new dog, Goldie, and then 6 hours later, did you eat today, hon? Oh, no, actually, I haven't. Ooh,
But you had a protein bar now? Those are readily available.
Yeah,
throughout the day.
low lights are to me are
Neglect?
meal replacements. Aren't Power Bars meal replacement supplements?
Yeah, when you're really hungry and you have to fend for yourself, you have to grab a bar.
Yeah. So low light this week, grabbing bars.
Okay.
And what would your
But hold on. Do I get any points for actually having an array of bars for you to choose from? Organized perfectly so they're in full visual, like,
I'm going to
availability?
save that highlight for another time.
Got it. Okay. Fair.
So Rachel, I mean, you're married to me. There's so many highlights you must have, but what would your highlight be this week?
I got the most beautiful vintage caftan.
You did? Who bought you that?
I did. I work for myself.
Oh.
I got my own money.
Oh, I thought
I don't have to ask for permission, friend.
I thought you were talking about the thing I bought you.
Oh, for my birthday in September?
I mean, kinda.
Oh.
I thought like maybe wore the caftan.
It's April.
You remembered how
It's
much
April.
I loved it. What?
It's April.
So what does that mean?
That means that gift was 9 months ago.
Okay.
So
Hey, Rach,
my highlight.
can you tell me a highlight of this week, sweetheart?
Okay. My highlight of this week was that I got a really special vintage piece, and I feel like I kind of won the lottery on that one because I don't really shop that much anymore because we haven't gone anywhere. So that would be a highlight. A low light, a really big low light. Our puppy, our fluffy, delicious puppy, has proceeded to poop all over the floor, all over our house. And I literally want to cry every time she does it.
I think I'm going to tag onto that low light.
Okay.
Not only does the puppy poop where she wants to, she has a tendency to eat it too. And that is
I wasn't going to say that.
That is just special. Hey, not only going to poop, but I'm a puppy and that looks tasty too. No, it doesn't, puppy. How could that look tasty? What are you, a dog? Oh, actually, you are a dog. Sorry for talking to you like a person.
Does it make it better or worse that it's typically right when we sit down for dinner that she does it?
Well, talk about ambiance. Wow. Poopy puppy and dinner really go hand in hand.
Honey, remember that night this week when we sat down to have a glass of wine and dinner together and the kids were asleep and then Goldie proceeded to poop and eat it? And you had to walk away from the table because you literally almost died.
Well, good news. Another highlight for me this week is happy to report I still have a great gag reflex. Gag reflex is really important because it keeps things that are not supposed to be in your stomach out of your stomach. And guess what? When you see a dog eat her own poop while you're eating dinner, your gag reflex works really well, or at least mine does.
Would you agree to the fact that this puppy is so damn cute that it actually doesn't matter that she might poop and eat it every once in a while?
I'm going to save the puppy's cuteness for another highlight of another time.
Sounds good. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. So I know we've already talked about the importance of mental health in this episode, but it's so important that I actually can't say it enough. If something is interfering with your happiness or keeping you from being the best version of yourself, you owe it to yourself to get help. And therapy is the help you deserve. BetterHelp is so convenient that there's actually no excuse not to try it if you're curious about the experience. You can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't have to try to fit in an in-person therapy session into your weekly schedule. You can do your sessions from the comfort of your home, which especially helps during these crazy times. And if you're worried that you might not mesh with your therapist, let me put your mind at ease. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. Because if it's not a fit, it's actually not going to work. And BetterHelp is dedicated to making it work. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Works For Us listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/works. So don't wait. Visit betterhelp.com/works and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
This is Dr. Laurie Santos from the Happiness Lab. Many people have questions about how to improve levels of happiness. Living a healthy lifestyle is one sure way of increasing happiness. And a good place to start is with your oral health. Just a few small changes to your oral care routine, such as changing your toothpaste to Colgate Total, can lead to beneficial changes in your oral health. Colgate Total helps stop oral health problems like gingivitis and cavities before they start, because preventing oral health problems is a lot easier than treating them. Be dentist ready and get Colgate Total at shop.colgate.com/total.
Whether it's game day, movie night, or just a busy day, it's always time for Papa Murphy's. And now you can get any medium two-topping pizza for just $6.99. That's right, the whole family can get exactly what they want any day of the week for any occasion. Any toppings, any sauce, only $6.99. Now that's meaty yum. If only everything else in life was like our deal. Order any medium two-topping pizza for just $6.99 at papamurphys.com.
Imagine relying on a dozen different software programs to run your business, none of which are connected, and each one more expensive and more complicated than the last. It can be pretty stressful. Now, imagine Odoo. Odoo has all the programs you'll ever need, and they're all connected on one platform. Doesn't Odoo sound amazing? Let Odoo harmonize your business with simple, efficient software that can handle everything for a fraction of the price. Sign up today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.